In a world that tries to shape your thoughts, dictate your worth, and tell you who you should be, there comes a moment when you must rise and say, "No one owns my mind, no one commands my spirit." This is that moment. Good evening, friends. This is Earl Nightingale, and tonight I want to speak to you about something that every person must one day understand if they wish to live free, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It is the truth that no one can control you unless you hand them the keys to your mind. The world will try to pull you in 1,000 directions. The opinions of others will swirl like a storm around you, and if you're not careful, you'll find yourself living not your life, but the life others expect of you. Yet here's the quiet secret that separates the few who rise above the noise from the many who are swept away by it. They cannot control you unless you consent. The man or woman who learns to guard their thoughts becomes untouchable. They do not react to insults, they respond with understanding. They do not crumble under failure, they learn from it. They do not seek applause, they seek progress. You see, the unshakable person doesn't deny that life can be hard. They simply refuse to surrender their peace to it. You can begin this transformation today. Start by taking control of what enters your mind. Turn off the chatter of gossip, the fear from the news, and the endless comparison of social media. Replace it with something worthy of your spirit. Books that teach, words that uplift, silence that allows you to think. For the quality of what you consume determines the quality of what you create. Next, choose your thoughts carefully. Remember this timeless truth: circumstances are the mirrors of our thoughts. Change your thoughts, and you change your world. If you think strength, you become strong. If you think fear, you shrink before life's challenges. Train your mind daily to dwell on what you want, not what you fear. And finally, act quietly, steadily, persistently. The unshakable are not loud. They do not boast. They move with calm certainty toward their goals, knowing that storms will come and go, but their course remains true. My friend, never forget this. No one can make you feel small without your permission. No one can dictate your destiny unless you hand them your will. Stand tall within yourself, for within you lies the same strength that built civilizations, conquered challenges, and created miracles out of ordinary lives. So tonight, decide that you will no longer live by reaction but by design. Decide that your peace is priceless, your purpose is sacred, and your mind is your own. Because the moment you do, you become untouchable, you become unshakable, you become free. To master your mind is to claim authority over the one realm where true freedom resides. Every outcome in life begins as a silent spark within thought. The quality of those thoughts shapes character, directs decisions, and ultimately determines destiny. When an individual learns to observe their mind rather than be ruled by it, a new dimension of control emerges. No longer tossed by emotion or circumstance, the disciplined thinker moves with deliberate calm through both storm and sunshine. Mastery does not come through suppression but through awareness. Each thought is a seed, and the conscious mind is the gardener. Neglect allows weeds of doubt and fear to overrun potential, while careful cultivation yields clarity, courage, and vision. The mind, like a muscle, grows through consistent training. Just as the body strengthens under resistance, mental resilience develops when challenged by uncertainty. Instead of yielding to worry, redirect attention toward purpose. Instead of dwelling on limitations, focus on progress. Every moment spent choosing thought over reaction refines the inner command that separates the ordinary from the exceptional. To control one's thinking is to turn chaos into order, confusion into understanding, and hesitation into confident movement. Greatness is never an accident. It is the natural result of a mind disciplined to think on purpose rather than by habit. Those who achieve remarkable things are not those without fear, but those who refuse to let fear dictate direction. When the mind becomes an ally, adversity loses its sting. The outer world bends to the strength of inner conviction. The person who can hold a steady picture of success, despite delay or difficulty, eventually draws circumstances into alignment with that vision. Every day presents a choice, to be mastered by conditions or to master the self. Begin by watching the thoughts that arise without judgment. Notice how quickly the mind leaps toward worry, complaint, or distraction. Then, with calm intention, replace each limiting belief with one that serves the goal. Over time, the pattern changes. Confidence takes root where doubt once lingered. Peace replaces the noise of unnecessary struggle. The disciplined thinker becomes a force no misfortune can defeat, because they no longer waste energy fighting invisible battles within. Self-mastery is not a single victory but a lifelong practice. It requires patience, reflection, and the courage to confront the narratives that have quietly dictated behavior for years. Yet with every conscious choice, the fog of confusion lifts. Clarity becomes constant and purpose shines through even in moments of trial. The one who governs their mind commands their future. For destiny is nothing more than the unfolding of thought into form. When a person learns to think deliberately, they stop being a passenger in life and become the architect of it. Every thought either constructs or destroys, builds or breaks, frees or confines. The power to choose between them belongs only to the one who has mastered the mind. Detach from opinions and you begin to experience the rare peace that comes from standing firmly within your own truth. Most people drift through life swayed by the voices around them, trying to fit into expectations that were never meant for them. Approval becomes a silent addiction, one that steals authenticity and replaces it with performance. Yet the moment you decide to stop measuring your worth through someone else's perception, you reclaim your strength. The world may shout, criticize, or praise, but none of it alters the essence of who you are. You remain steady, guided by conviction rather than applause. The opinions of others are reflections of their own experiences, fears, and limitations, not mirrors of your potential. What they see in you often reveals more about them than about your path. When you understand this truth, judgment loses its power. You realize that no one can fully comprehend the battles you've fought or the dreams that drive you forward. Therefore, their approval is neither a reward nor their rejection a loss. The individual who knows their own purpose walks silently above the noise, untouched by the turbulence of shifting opinions. Detachment does not mean arrogance or indifference. It means choosing inner stability over external validation. It means having the courage to stand alone when necessary and the wisdom to listen without surrendering your direction. A calm mind hears criticism but does not absorb it. It accepts praise but remains humble. This equilibrium creates freedom from the exhausting need to please, to defend, to justify. Once liberated from that burden, creativity flows, energy expands, and focus sharpens. You begin to act not from insecurity, but from clarity. In every generation, the few who accomplish remarkable things are those who dared to trust themselves when the crowd doubted. They did not seek permission to pursue their vision. They simply moved forward with quiet certainty. Their power came from within, not from applause. They understood that every opinion fades, but integrity endures. When you align your actions with your values, no criticism can derail you because you no longer operate from fear. You act from purpose, and purpose does not bend to popularity. Detach by observing rather than reacting. When words come your way, whether kind or cruel, pause before they take root. Ask if they serve your growth or merely echo someone else's insecurity. Release what is unhelpful. Keep what teaches. The mind that practices this separation becomes unshakable, because its peace no longer depends on circumstance or approval. In that space of quiet independence, you discover who you truly are. A person guided not by noise but by inner knowing, not by fleeting opinions but by unwavering truth. The noise fades, the chaos quiets, and what remains is strength, the kind that no voice can take away and no doubt can disturb, the calm certainty of one who finally belongs entirely to themselves. Build inner strength, and you begin to command a force that no obstacle can break. Strength is not found in muscle or dominance. It lives in the quiet resilience that keeps you moving when the path darkens. It is born the moment you face fear and walk through it instead of running away. Every difficulty that once felt unbearable becomes the forge where courage is created. Fear loses its grip when you decide that growth matters more than comfort, and in that decision, power awakens. Inner strength grows in silence, away from the applause of the world. It is cultivated in the small moments when no one watches, when you choose patience over anger, perseverance over surrender, understanding over resentment. Each choice builds another layer of endurance. The individual who learns to remain composed amid uncertainty discovers an advantage greater than talent or opportunity. They carry a calm confidence that does not depend on what happens but on who they have become. When storms rise, they do not seek escape. They adjust their sails and move forward with purpose. True power emerges when fear is no longer the master. Every person feels fear. It is the natural companion of change, but strength is the art of acting despite it. To build it, you must lean into challenge rather than avoid it. Every time you step beyond hesitation, you reinforce the belief that you can handle whatever comes. Slowly, doubt weakens, and faith replaces it. The mind learns that adversity is not punishment but preparation. Each trial becomes a teacher, each fall a lesson, each recovery a victory that adds to your reservoir of quiet might. Those who possess this inner fortress are not easily shaken. Their confidence does not come from circumstance but from endurance. They have learned that control begins within. No event can truly defeat them unless they surrender their perspective. When things fall apart, they rebuild with patience. When plans fail, they create new ones without bitterness. Their strength lies in the refusal to let external chaos disturb internal order. This steadiness is what gives birth to genuine power, the ability to remain centered in a world that constantly shifts. To cultivate such strength, feed your mind with discipline and reflection. Speak to yourself with words that inspire rather than discourage. Surround your days with actions that stretch your capacity to endure. Learn to rest, not quit. Each morning, rise with determination. Each night, rest knowing you've grown more unbreakable. The process is not instant, but the transformation is undeniable. What once frightened you becomes familiar, and what once seemed impossible turns into another step forward. Fear ends where understanding begins. Once you see that fear is simply a signal inviting growth, it loses control over you. Inner strength blossoms from acceptance that struggle is part of becoming. Through that acceptance, power flows quietly, a steady flame that does not flicker in the wind, illuminating the path for the one who has chosen to master themselves. Choose your response, for within that single act lies the difference between freedom and bondage. Life will bring events beyond control, losses, disappointments, unforeseen turns that test resolve, but no circumstance can command how you think or feel unless you permit it. The space between what happens and what you decide to do with it defines your strength. Every person faces moments when frustration tempts reaction, yet mastery begins when you pause before emotion takes over. That pause, brief as it may be, becomes the doorway to power. When the world trembles, hold steady inside. Others may crumble beneath pressure, but you possess the ability to remain centered amid the noise. The one who governs response becomes the architect of destiny. External forces can disturb the surface, but the depth of your will remains untouched. Choosing calm over chaos is not weakness. It is the ultimate demonstration of control. The disciplined mind observes the storm without surrendering to it. Each challenge, no matter how intense, invites the opportunity to act with grace instead of anger, purpose instead of panic. Responding rather than reacting transforms ordinary struggle into growth. Reaction is impulse, response is intention. One is driven by fear, the other by awareness. When you learn to separate the two, you gain dominion over yourself. That dominion cannot be stolen, for it resides in consciousness, not circumstance. A person who chooses their attitude, regardless of the outcome, stands unshaken in a world built on unpredictability. They become the calm presence others look to when uncertainty rises. Every day brings choices that test emotional control. A harsh word, an unexpected delay, a sudden change. Each moment is a chance to demonstrate composure. Strength is not proven through domination but through restraint. To remain kind in adversity, patient in frustration, and focus when distractions scream for attention. These are the marks of true maturity. Each controlled response builds character, and character forms destiny. The consistent decision to think before acting sculpts a life of quiet authority, where peace replaces turmoil and direction replaces confusion. It is not the event that breaks a person, but their interpretation of it. Change the meaning, and the experience changes. A setback becomes a lesson, criticism becomes feedback, failure becomes guidance. In this way, no situation holds the power to defeat you. You transform adversity into advantage through conscious choice. By refusing to let emotions dictate decisions, you turn chaos into clarity. This is the essence of freedom, the realization that your response belongs solely to you. When you understand this, the world can no longer control you. The noise outside may rise, yet the voice within remains still. You walk through difficulty without bitterness, through challenge without despair. The will stays unmoved, anchored in purpose and self-command. In every trial, remember you cannot always choose what happens, but you can always choose what it makes of you. Guard your peace as though it were the rarest possession, for it is the foundation upon which clarity, wisdom, and purpose rest. The world constantly pulls at the edges of your attention, demanding reaction, stirring emotion, and seeking to distract you from what truly matters. Yet, within the quiet of a calm mind lies strength unmatched by force. Your calm is not weakness, it is sovereignty. It allows you to think clearly when others lose direction, to act with intention when chaos surrounds, and to live from purpose rather than pressure. To protect that serenity is to protect your power. Peace is not found by chance, it is cultivated through discipline. It requires choosing stillness when agitation tempts, silence when argument beckons, and patience when haste would destroy understanding. Guarding your peace means setting boundaries, emotional, mental, and spiritual, that preserve your balance. Not every battle deserves your energy, not every voice deserves a reply. When you begin to value tranquility more than temporary satisfaction, you discover how little of the world's noise truly matters. What once stirred frustration now passes like wind through open space. A calm mind becomes the anchor that holds steady amid the tides of circumstance. When others react, you observe. When tension rises, you breathe. You refuse to allow external forces to dictate your internal state. This self-control is the essence of mastery. It is not about isolation from the world, but elevation above its turbulence. To guard your peace is to recognize that no one can grant or remove it without your consent. It lives within you, waiting to be honored, protected, and renewed daily. In moments of disturbance, return to stillness. Take a breath deep enough to remind yourself that serenity is a choice, not a condition. The calm you maintain shapes how you perceive reality. Where anxiety once ruled, understanding now leads. From this centered place, decisions are made with greater wisdom. Words are spoken with kindness, and actions align with integrity. You begin to move through life with quiet assurance, untouched by the frantic energy that consumes so many. Guarding peace also means curating what enters your environment. Protect your mind from negativity disguised as entertainment. Distance yourself from conversations that drain spirit, and nurture surroundings that foster rest. Feed your thoughts with gratitude, simplicity, and reflection. The more you honor stillness, the more life reveals its depth. Calmness does not remove struggle, it transforms how you meet it. Through composure, you turn obstacles into teachers and delays into preparation. When peace governs the heart, fear loses control. You no longer chase validation or cling to control, you trust the process of becoming. The calm mind stands as a fortress, unyielding to distraction, radiant with quiet strength. Those who find this balance carry a light that no circumstance can extinguish, for they have learned the greatest lesson of all, to rule their inner world, and in doing so, rule everything that touches it. Focus on growth, not approval, for the need to please others is the chain that keeps potential imprisoned. Every time you shape your choices to earn recognition, you drift farther from authenticity. Progress cannot be measured by applause because applause is fleeting, but improvement endures. The moment you stop chasing validation and begin refining yourself for your own fulfillment, transformation begins. Growth is quiet, often unseen, and rarely celebrated, yet it is the most honest proof of advancement. No one else can truly understand the depth of your effort, the weight of your struggle, or the strength it takes to rise after falling. That is why progress must remain personal. It belongs only to you. The pursuit of approval leads to exhaustion. It demands constant adaptation to fit into shifting standards, forcing you to abandon truth for acceptance. When you live for recognition, your peace depends on the opinion of others, and your power weakens. Growth, however, requires the courage to stand apart. It calls for patience in isolation, persistence through misunderstanding, and resilience when encouragement is scarce. Real progress often happens when no one notices, in the quiet hours of discipline when the world sleeps. True development comes from measuring today against yesterday, not against anyone else. The comparison trap kills joy because it blinds you to how far you've already come. Each small step forward counts, even when it doesn't look impressive to the outside world. The seed does not compete with the tree beside it. It grows at its own pace, nourished by patience and consistency. Likewise, your journey unfolds uniquely, guided by timing only you can honor. The growth that matters most is internal, the expansion of understanding, the refinement of character, the deepening of purpose. Those who anchor their identity in progress rather than approval find freedom. They no longer seek to impress, they aim to improve. Every challenge becomes a chance to evolve, every mistake a stepping stone toward mastery. They welcome criticism but are not controlled by it, listen to advice without surrendering judgment, and celebrate advancement without boosting. Their motivation is self-directed, fueled by an inner fire that no opinion can extinguish. To focus on growth, cultivate self-awareness. Reflect daily on what strengthens you and what drains your energy. Invest effort in building habits that align with your vision, not with public trends. Success born of approval fades quickly, but success born of growth endures because it is rooted in authenticity. You begin to notice progress not in trophies but in tranquility, in the calm confidence that comes from knowing you are becoming better than you were. When your goal shifts from being liked to being developed, life takes on deeper meaning. The journey becomes rewarding regardless of recognition because your measure of success lives within. Approval may echo for a moment, but growth echoes for a lifetime, and only those who choose the latter ever experience the quiet satisfaction of becoming their fullest self. Train daily discipline, for it is the invisible thread that connects desire to achievement. Every great accomplishment rests on the foundation of steady effort repeated long after excitement fades. Discipline is not punishment, it is structure that liberates. When you learn to act not by mood but by intention, you unlock a level of power unavailable to those ruled by impulse. Consistency transforms uncertainty into certainty because it builds reliability within yourself. Each day you honor a commitment, you reinforce trust in your own word, and that trust becomes the silent engine behind progress. True discipline begins with small choices. Rising when comfort tempts you to linger, focusing when distractions whisper, working when no one applauds. These moments create the difference between mediocrity and mastery. The habit of following through strengthens self-control, like lifting a weight strengthens muscle. At first it feels heavy, but persistence lightens the load. Routine becomes rhythm, and what once required effort becomes natural. Discipline, when practiced daily, reshapes not only habits but identity. You stop wishing for change and start embodying it through repeated action. Freedom comes not from doing whatever you please, but from having control over what you choose. Consistency gives that control. It allows you to direct time, energy, and attention toward what truly matters. Without discipline, life scatters. With it, focus sharpens. The person who trains themselves to act with purpose experiences calm amid chaos because their direction remains clear. Discipline eliminates hesitation by turning decisions into reflexes aligned with long-term vision. Every routine you master becomes a shield against distraction and a compass that keeps you moving even when motivation disappears. To train discipline, start where you are. Do one thing today that strengthens willpower. Finish a task you've delayed, commit to a morning ritual, follow through on a promise to yourself. Each completion adds weight to your sense of control. Over time, these small victories compound, creating a reservoir of confidence that fuels greater ambition. The disciplined individual understands that progress is not a burst of energy, but a steady climb built one deliberate step at a time. Consistency demands patience. Results may appear slowly, and boredom may test endurance, yet every repetition plants a seed that grows unseen until the moment of harvest. Those who quit too soon never realize how close they were to breakthrough. The disciplined endure the dullness of routine because they trust the process. They know that greatness does not shout, it whispers through daily persistence. Discipline also guards against regret. When effort is consistent, there is no need to wonder, what if? The satisfaction of having given full dedication outweighs temporary discomfort. In time, what began as discipline turns into freedom, the freedom to rely on yourself, to pursue dreams without fear of failure, to create a life directed by choice rather than chance. Through steady practice, discipline ceases to feel like restraint and becomes the purest expression of inner strength and self-respect. Stand on principles, not popularity, for values form the backbone of lasting strength. When a person chooses integrity over approval, they build a foundation that cannot be shaken by trends or opinion. Popularity changes like the wind, shifting direction with every new influence, but principle stands unmoved through the years. To live by conviction is to walk a path that may sometimes feel lonely yet leads to genuine respect. The kind that cannot be bought or borrowed. Doing what is right often comes with resistance, but that resistance refines character and separates the authentic from the artificial. True courage reveals itself not in moments of comfort, but in choices that test loyalty to conscience. Standing firm requires clarity of purpose and the willingness to be misunderstood. The world often celebrates convenience while overlooking integrity, but history remembers those who refuse to bend. Their strength came not from numbers but from alignment between belief and behavior. They acted according to truth even when silence would have been easier, and that decision made their influence timeless. To live by principle is to decide that your peace is worth more than approval, that truth is worth more than applause. Each day presents opportunities to compromise for acceptance. The temptation to blend in, to avoid judgment, whispers softly but persistently. Yet the one who values self-respect over popularity understands that temporary comfort is too small a reward for the loss of authenticity. Principles are not designed for convenience. They are the compass that guides you when directions blur. They demand patience, humility, and strength to uphold when shortcuts appear tempting. To act rightly when no one notices strengthens integrity more than any recognition ever could. A life anchored in principle brings quiet confidence. It removes the need to please because your direction no longer depends on the crowd. When challenges arise, the principled person does not waver. They weigh choices against values, not approval. This steadiness inspires trust, for people instinctively follow those who remain consistent amid uncertainty. Integrity creates stability, and stability invites respect that endures beyond fleeting praise. The voice that once felt alone becomes the standard others look to when confusion reigns. Choosing principle also brings freedom from regret. When actions align with belief, there is peace even in loss. Mistakes may come, but they are met with honesty, not excuses. This clarity of conscience grants a calm strength that no popularity can replace. To act rightly is to plant seeds of legacy, for integrity outlives reputation. The applause of the crowd fades quickly, but the echo of truth carries through generations. What's right rarely offers the easiest road, yet it always offers the truest one. Every step taken in honor of principle strengthens the soul and carves a path others can follow. To stand firm when the world demands compromise is not defiance. It is leadership, the quiet kind that shapes lives long after recognition is forgotten. Feed your mind with purpose, for the thoughts you allow to enter shape the entire landscape of your life. Every idea you consume becomes nourishment for the person you are becoming. Just as the body weakens without proper sustenance, the mind loses direction when filled with noise and distraction. What you read, hear, and watch quietly molds your attitude, beliefs, and imagination. To rise above confusion, you must be deliberate about what you let influence your inner world. The mind reflects what it repeatedly encounters, therefore, what surrounds you eventually lives within you. Every moment spent engaging with meaningful knowledge strengthens awareness. Books that challenge your thinking, voices that encourage progress, and ideas that expand understanding serve as food for growth. When you expose yourself to wisdom, you sharpen your perception and refine your character. Inspiration does not appear by accident, it's drawn from the quality of what occupies your attention. By choosing uplifting input, you begin to develop clarity of purpose and direction in life. The person who consciously feeds their mind truth and insight creates a mental environment where creativity and determination thrive naturally. Guard against consuming negativity disguised as entertainment or information. Much of what fills the modern world aims to capture attention rather than develop thought. Constant exposure to fear, comparison, and trivial content dulls focus and drains motivation. Purposeful learning, however, invigorates the spirit. It reminds you that your mind is not a playground for distraction but a workshop for creation. Each thought you nurture becomes a building block for destiny. To feed the mind with purpose is to accept responsibility for shaping your inner narrative. The company you keep in thought is as important as the people you surround yourself with. Seek material that elevates rather than diminishes. Read biographies of those who achieved greatness through discipline. Listen to voices that speak of courage, gratitude, and mastery. Fill silence with reflection instead of noise. Each intentional choice directs energy toward progress. Over time, this steady nourishment creates resilience, enabling you to withstand the uncertainty that tests weaker minds. Your mind becomes what it repeatedly rehearses. When filled with purpose-driven ideas, it begins to seek solutions instead of dwelling on problems. Problems lose their weight when viewed through a mindset trained on growth. Purposeful input fuels endurance. It transforms setbacks into lessons and failure into refinement. Through constant enrichment, you cultivate inner wisdom that cannot be shaken by outside circumstance. Every great transformation begins first in thought. Before achievement manifests, belief must be fed. The person who controls what enters their mind controls the trajectory of their life. Choose your influences with care, for they plant seeds that blossom into behavior. A focused mind attracts opportunity because it recognizes it when it appears. Feed your mind deliberately each day with knowledge that uplifts and vision that strengthens, and in time, your outer world will mirror the richness of your inner one. Act with quiet confidence, for strength does not require noise to be known. The most powerful individuals are not those who announce their worth, but those whose presence speaks without words. True confidence is calm because it is built on understanding rather than approval. It is the assurance that comes from preparation, experience, and alignment with purpose. The person who trusts their direction no longer feels the need to justify every move, explain every decision, or seek validation for each step. They simply continue, undisturbed by doubt or distraction, focused entirely on the path ahead. Quiet confidence grows through self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, follow through on commitments, and remain true to your word, belief in your own ability deepens. It's not arrogance. It's awareness of potential backed by consistency. This kind of composure cannot be faked, for it emerges only from doing the inner work that others avoid. The one who acts with certainty does so not because everything is perfect, but because they have learned that perfection is unnecessary. They move despite uncertainty, trusting that clarity will come through motion. The world often confuses loudness with strength, but real power rarely shouts. It reveals itself in restraint, in patience, in the discipline to persist without complaint. The unshakable understand that results speak louder than declarations. They are not driven by competition, they are guided by conviction. While others waste energy trying to be noticed, the quietly confident invest energy in progress. Their actions form their reputation, not their words. Each small step forward builds momentum, and with every movement, faith in themselves grows stronger. Acting with quiet assurance requires mastering emotion. When criticism arises, they do not react defensively. When praise comes, they remain humble. Their confidence is not built on approval, so neither judgment nor admiration alters their pace. They understand that control over reaction equals control over direction. A calm mind makes clear choices, and clear choices create lasting outcomes. By staying composed under pressure, they communicate more powerfully than any speech ever could. This kind of confidence is magnetic. People are drawn to those who move with purpose without demanding recognition. Their steadiness brings comfort to the uncertain, inspiration to the hesitant, and guidance to the lost. They influence not through persuasion but through example. Their silence carries weight because it comes from authenticity. Quiet confidence reflects mastery of self, the rare ability to stay centered while the world shifts unpredictably. To cultivate it, focus less on how you appear and more on how you perform. Let your consistency build credibility. Let your results announce your capability. Speak through your work, your patience, and your perseverance. When you stop proving and start doing, peace replaces pressure. The quietly confident live above the noise because they no longer need to convince anyone of their worth. Their movement forward becomes their message, steady, purposeful, and unstoppable. When a person decides to master their thoughts, detach from opinions, build inner strength, choose their response, guard their peace, focus on growth, train daily discipline, stand on principle, feed their mind with purpose, and act with quiet confidence, they become the kind of individual no circumstance can break. Such a person walks through life not as a product of environment, but as the architect of it. Their calm becomes their shield, their consistency their compass, their integrity their crown. The storms that shake others only strengthen their roots because they live from the inside out. They no longer chase recognition or validation, they create direction and meaning. They understand that true control begins within, and once the mind is mastered, the world bends accordingly. The unshakable live by a different rhythm. They move with grace in chaos, find lessons in adversity, and radiate composure when noise surrounds them. They are not untouched by challenge, but they are never defined by it. Each decision reflects clarity, each action carries purpose, each day becomes another step toward mastery. They walk quietly but leave footprints that others follow. Their success is not measured by what they gain, but by what they become. In the end, greatness belongs to those who choose discipline over comfort, growth over approval, and principle over popularity. It belongs to the ones who build their strength in silence and let their results speak in thunder. Be that person. Guard your peace. Command your mind. Live with conviction. And remember always, the world cannot control the one who governs themselves.